did we watch the video on product rule? I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. I can do this all day long. Let's try this again. Did we watch the video?
Yeah.
Yeah. So much enthusiasm. Okay. When do we use product rule? When we have two functions that are multiplied together. So along the same lines, when should we use quotient rule?
Two are getting divided by two.
When two functions are divided. So if we have f of x divided by g of x, then we would use the quotient rule. And you may ask me, well, where did this rule come from? Well, there is a lot of theory behind it. It's way beyond the scope of this class. Now, when we did the product rule, what letters did I use? U and V. So we are going to use U and V here as well. But the key thing to remember is in product rule, I can reverse U and V. But I cannot do that here. I'm going to call the numerator, okay, great. Numerator as U and the denominator as V. So the statement that I just made is I can change U and V with product rule, but I cannot do that with quotient rule. Why is that? What is 2 times 4? What is 4 times 2? Did I change the order? You got the same answer. What is 2 divided by 4? What is 4 divided by 2? Are they the same? No. So oftentimes students get confused by switching U and V when it comes to quotient rule, and I would recommend that you don't do it. Okay? I'm going to define the numerator as U, denominator as V, and keep it that way so that you simply have one formula. Are we clear? Okay. So if that is the case, and I'll call that function to be h of x, then by definition, h prime of x, which is the first derivative, would equal to v u prime minus u v prime divided by v squared. Standard formula. You get to have a cheat sheet, so make sure you put this formula in the cheat sheet. I will let you know in that announcement when I post it. Good so far? Do we have a quotient? Yes. So what is u?
X to the fourth plus 6x.
The numerator, which is x raised 4. Another one bites the dust. And v is the denominator. What is the derivative of u? Which would be u. Oh, it's the third one. I have a lot in my car, so fingers crossed. Not having luck today. I should just give up. Pass dismissed. What is the derivative of x raised 4? 4x cubed. The derivative of 6x. Derivative of x squared. So f prime of x would simply be v u prime minus u v prime divided by v squared. All I have to do is plug in the expressions and simplify. V is x squared. U prime is 4x cubed plus 6 minus u is x raised 4 plus 6x. V prime is 2x. Anytime you have an exponent, it's better to put it within parentheses so that you don't make mistakes. Denominator is v, which is x squared. I'm putting it within parentheses so that I don't make any mistakes. Good. We have to simplify. Distribute the x squared. You have 4x raised 5 plus x squared times 6 is 6x squared minus 2x multiplied by x raised 4 minus 4x raised 5 minus 6x multiplied by 2x would be that's easy. 12x. Close. 6x multiplied by 2x. 12x squared and a minus in the front.
Wait, how did you get minus 4x to the fifth?
Thank you. It's 2. Four x raised 5 minus 2x raised 5. 2x raised 5. 6x squared minus 12x squared is minus 6x squared divided by x raised 4. With me so far? Can we simplify this further? Yes, how? What do we have in common between those two terms? Aside from x.
2x squared.
2x squared, right? X squared, x cubed, times x squared. So if I pull 2x squared out of x raised 5, I have x cubed. 2x squared out of 6x squared, I'd have 3. Divided by x raised 4. X squared there, x raised 4 there, those two would get cancelled. I have x squared, correct? So the final answer would be 2 multiplied by x cubed minus 3 divided by x squared. Good so far? Now, I'm going to explain something because I'm trying to show something else. In the sense that I could rewrite this by taking one extra step. Now, would your homework system do the same thing? Maybe, maybe not. But oftentimes I've seen WebAssign, can I erase this? Trying to rewrite it in the way that I'm going to rewrite. I'll have the 2 distributed again. I have x cubed minus 6 and divide by x squared. Yes? Could I split the numerator? In other words, could I write it as 2x cubed over x squared minus 6 over x squared? Yes or no?
Yes.
Why is that, Moses?
Because, both terms are going to be divided by x squared, so you can rewrite it both under x squared.
So that's a common denominator, right? If you have a common denominator, you can combine the numerators. And if I combine the numerators, it's going to go back to that. So this or that, they are one and the same, they are equal to each other. So I have minus 6 over x squared. What would happen to those two?
X would cancel the bottom, left with 2x.
What may so far? I'll pull the 2 again. X minus 3 over x squared. Right, I didn't do anything wrong. All I did is I pulled a 2 out from that term, 2 out from that term to get 3. So I'm going to put a box around this. Look at all the pens that didn't work. Finally, I get a chance to clean out my car. Another candidate would be this blue pen. Okay, going to put a box there. This is also an answer. Okay, so either that would be an answer or you may rewrite it that way. You may ask me, well, why did he try to go that far? That would take us back to the question itself. Is there a way to rewrite the question? Can I erase all of this? how can we rewrite f of x?
Take x out of the top and bottom.
Okay, that's one way. You are correct. What is your name?
Logan.
Logan, you are correct. But there is another way. I'll give you a hint. We did that technique maybe a couple of steps ago.
X to the fourth over 2x, or not 2x, x squared plus 6x over x squared.
Right, I could do that. What would happen to those two terms? X squared, x raised 4. If they cancel, I would end up having x squared. I have x squared. X would get cancelled. I would have 6 over x. Correct? If I move x to the numerator, it would become x raised -1. So all I've done so far is rewrite the function with a bit of algebra. I didn't even take the derivative. So now I'm going to take the derivative using the form that I just rewrote. So what is f prime of x? We take the derivative of the first term, which is 2x plus 6. Derivative of the second term, -1 would come to the front. What would happen to the power? Subtract 1, so -1 minus 1 would be -2. Good. And I don't like negativity, so I'd have to get rid of that negative. What should we do? I want a positive exponent. We can't simply change that to positive. That's silly. I could write it that way, correct? We have a 2 in common again, so 2 x minus 3 over x squared. Good so far? Look at the one that I boxed and look at the answer. Are they the same? They are. So which approach do you prefer? Quotient rule or this?
Definitely the second one.
Definitely the second one, because this doesn't involve taking multiple derivatives. All I did is a bit of algebra and took the derivative. It became easy. Last time when I did product rule, I showed a similar example where I said, well, you don't have to use product rule unless it is absolutely necessary. The same argument applies to quotient rule. Don't use quotient rule unless it is absolutely necessary, because you're going to end up with the same answer. Okay? So it is a matter of choice. Some students would simply say, well, I'm just comfortable with quotient rule for every problem. I'll just stick with that. If you're one of those people, then go for it. But if you are one of those who like the alternative method, go for the alternative. I personally would have done that for this particular problem, because this is efficient. Good? Okay. always think one step ahead. Before we even start the problem, would it do us any good to split that like I did here? No, because the expression in the numerator has x squared minus 4. Even if I split it up, I cannot cancel terms. I'm stuck with the x plus 1 in the denominator. So in a problem like this, the way to go is quotient rule. So what is u?
X squared minus 4.
Huh?
X squared minus 4.
No. U is a human being. You are correct. That was droll humor. V is the denominator, which is x plus 1. What is u prime? 2x. V prime?
Just be 1.
1. What is the formula?
UV prime minus U over V3.
Okay, V is x plus 1. U prime is 2x minus. U is x squared minus 4. V prime is 1. Divided by V squared, that would be x plus 1 squared. Good. What is the next step? We should try and distribute, simplify. 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times 1 is 2x. Minus x squared multiplied by 1, we have minus x squared. Negative times negative 4, positive 4, multiplied by 1, we have positive 4. Good. 2x squared minus x squared would be x squared plus 2x plus 4 divided by x plus 1 squared. You cannot simplify that further. When could you simplify? If you have the opportunity to factor this, but we cannot factor that. I mean, we can, but it's not going to help us and cancelling terms out. Are we clear? Good? Okay. I'll give you a minute to copy and then we can go on to the next one. Going to erase this side. Excuse me. And no, I don't have the Rona. Every time I go in public, I try not to cough. I try really, really hard. Because people give me looks. Okay, so we have f of x is equal to x over x plus 2. We need to find f prime of 1, f double prime of 1, first derivative, second derivative. What does f prime of 1 mean? We find the derivative and what should we do? Put x equals 1. So I want you to take a minute, use quotient rule and find just the derivative or f prime of 1. Give it a try.
Oh, it's just like some map stuff.
Where'd you get it from?
Facebook. I just bought one off Facebook.
Okay. Who found f prime of 1? Or do we need some more time? Go ahead. What's your name?
Colton.
Colton.
I have no idea if it's right, but I got, negative x over x plus 2.
Negative x over x plus 2. Okay. Anyone else?
I got, for the first derivative, so one is, I got x to the x over x plus 2.
X to the x?
Oh, not x to x, x multiplied by x.
Okay. Now, is this what did you get?
That's probably wrong, but I got 2 over 9.
2 over 9 is the correct answer. So, have some faith in yourself. Confidence is a great thing. So, what is u?
X.
V
X plus 2.
u prime
1.
v prime
1.
So the formula is v u prime minus u v prime divided by v squared. What is v? X plus 2. U prime is 1 minus u is x. V prime is 1. Divide the entire thing by x plus 2 squared because we have to square v. Distribute and simplify. X times 1 is x. 2 times 1 is 2 minus x. What happens to the x's?
Cancel out.
Wouldn't it be great if all our x's cancel each other out? Just went over. So that is the first derivative. Yes? Colton, where did you go wrong?
I didn't cancel the x's.
You didn't cancel the x's?
Yeah, I wrote them over there.
Life lesson learned. What's your name? Logan.
Yeah.
But-
Well, I did the formula backwards.
See?
And also the derivative I did wrong for x to 1. I did
Okay, so it is very common for people to switch the formula because you are so used to product rule and you often write it as uv prime minus vu prime. So be careful, put the formula in the cheat sheet. F prime of 1 would simply be equal to 2 over 1 plus 2 squared. 2 divided by 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 squared is 9. Good? I'll give you a minute. Let's go ahead and find the second derivative. So what does the second derivative mean? We use the first derivative and take the derivative again. So what is u in this step? 2. V is x plus 2 squared. And this is a nice lead-in into chain rule. few more seconds and then we can move on. So how many of you got stuck? Got to be honest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why did you get stuck? Moses?
I was finding B prime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I got it, but I'm not sure if I got 2x plus 4.
Okay. Where did you get stuck? V prime? Where did you get stuck?
Same.
V prime? V prime? V prime? Why did you get stuck?
The
Is
parentheses just
is
threw me
that
off.
like a
was-
calculus vogue?
Look, I didn't sleep a lot. It was because I didn't know what to do with the term in the parentheses. I was like, it's too.
Now, your book probably explains all kinds of stuff in doing chain rule. I only care about the mechanics because this is an elementary calculus class. So, if that part was just x, then we know the derivative. Yes, the derivative of x squared would be 2x. But it is not x, rather it is x plus 2. And that created a problem and we got stuck at v prime. And that's where chain rule comes into play. So what does it mean? We would treat whatever that we see inside as x. Then what is the derivative?
Just one.
No, the entire thing. If I treated, whatever that is inside the box as x, in your mind, hypothetically, what is the derivative of x squared? 2x. But I know for a fact that it is not x, rather it is x plus 2. Yes? And you multiply by the derivative of whatever you have inside, and that would be 1. And do you see why we call it a chain rule? So we can keep on going. So v prime in this case is 2 times x plus 2. Good. So f double prime of x would be v u prime minus u v prime divided by v squared. What is v? V is x plus 2 squared. U prime, luckily, it is 0. U is 2. V prime is 2 times x plus 2. Divide the entire thing by v squared. But mind you, v in this case is x plus 2 squared. So we have x plus 2 squared, because v is x plus 2 squared. the first term goes away. So we have minus 4 times x plus 2 divided by, what would that reduce to? Ophelia, do you want to try? X plus 2 raised 4. Could we simplify that further? Council? Yes? Now we plug in the value 1 because the second derivative is negative 4 over x plus 2 cubed. So f double prime of 1 would be negative 4 over 1 plus 2 cubed. 2 cubed, excuse me, 3 cubed is 27. Are we clear with the chain rule part? As I said, I'm going to post a video on chain rule, but I wanted to start it over here with a simple formula, simple problem. I'll do one more that sort of explains chain rule. Did we copy this down? Same logic as before. If we simply had x here, then the derivative would be 2x, correct? But we don't have that. So if in my mind and in your mind, we think that x squared plus 2 is just x, the derivative would be 2 times x. But x is x squared plus 2, so we're going to put x squared plus 2. We're not done yet. What should we do? We have to multiply by the derivative of whatever that is inside. What is the derivative of x squared plus 2? 2x. Good. So 2 times 2 is 4, multiplied by x, multiplied by x squared plus 2. Let's see if you watched the video from last time. I want to find the second derivative. What rule should you use? Product rule. But is that the only way? He says no. Forgot your name. Matt?
Brian.
Brian.
I was just kind of shaking my head myself. I didn't actually remember.
Okay. That's what happens when you don't sleep well.
But yeah.
So you can't use product rule, but there is another way. An easier way. How about this? I'm going to rewrite 4x times x squared is 4x cubed. Yes? 4x times 2 is 8x. I'm just rewriting, I'm not doing anything, so it is easy to find the derivative of that. Do you agree? What is the derivative of 4x cubed?
12x squared.
The 3 comes to the front, so 4 times 3 would be 12. Decrease the power, so we'd have 2. What is the derivative of 8x? 8. Do we have a common term between the two? 12x squared and 8? 4. If 4 comes out of 12x squared, we have 3x squared. If you pull a 4 out from 8, you'd have 2. And that is the answer. Now, do you believe that it would have been this simple had you used product rule? It would be a tad bit more difficult. So, key part here is chain rule. And I want you to try this at home using the product rule and see if you get the same answer. Okay? So, any questions? Okay. That is a good place to stop.